Guys, Massey 1105 driver here, and today we're shelling corn. It's Friday, October 5th. This is not the first day I've been shelling. I started on Monday for my friend. I'm on my friend's farm. The farm I keep some of my equipment at. We started Monday afternoon, and we've probably got a little over 20 acres off so far. I've just been chipping away in the evenings or afternoons after work. We couldn't run yesterday because it rained. So we're back here today. It didn't rain much yesterday, just enough to not be able to run, but it's not affecting ground conditions or anything. Ground conditions aren't too bad for all the rain we've had here lately. The worst field is across the way there. You see that white building? Maybe you can, in between the trees and the building, there's a field back there. That's been the wettest field so far, and that on this farm traditionally is. Get her revving back up here. Okay, the rest of this will fit on one hopper. Probably fill the front wagon maybe, or close to it, and then we'll get into the next field. This is a 5-acre strip, but we're only shelling half of it because on the other side of the drive here where I just unloaded, that corn actually had to be replanted. So this corn was in at least 3 weeks. And what happened was last year, this half of the fields, these first 3 fields, they're 5 acres each, was very wet last spring when we were wanting to get corn planted. So what happened was everything on this side of the drive got put to beans when it dried out later in the season, later in the spring. And 3 strips on the other side all got put to corn because they were drier. So then this spring, he wanted to get them back to the 5-acre strips instead of doing 7.5 and 7.5 on either side of the drive. And since this was all beans last year, there was no issues with anything. What happened was that corn on the other side, the 3 strips, was a lot of down corn. So when I shelled, there was a lot of corn in the field. Well, spring came, and after tillage and everything, planting, that there was a crap ton of volunteer corn that came up. And it was so bad, it looked like it was drilled in. It was just, you couldn't see rows or anything. It was kind of sickening because the corn came up real nice. And it was probably between knee and waist high by the time they made the decision to replant. And went in, disked it all down and replanted it. And the year before it was all conventional corn. And then this year it was conventional again. Well, the problem with that is when you have volunteer corn like that, if you had Roundup ready corn, you could just go in and spray Roundup, and that would have wiped out all the volunteer. Well, since everything is, that was fine for the first year where it was conventional, but this year it was conventional again, and it would have wiped out all of it. So, and the chemicals had already been sprayed on the field for corn, so beans weren't an option, because that was considered. And agronomist said no, the beans won't come because of the corn chemicals that had been sprayed on the field. So the decision was made to go. It was actually a triple stack that they had left over from the year before. I believe it was 100 or 101 day LG brand. I don't know if, I'm sure some of you guys west of here are familiar with LG. I'm thinking, I'm not sure if it's based out of Indiana or where that's based out of. I know at Farm Science they have test plots down there with LG. But anyhow, that's what's over across the drive. When I get back down there, you'll be able to see if you couldn't tell when I was unloading that that green, or that corn still has some green in it yet. He pulled a test on it, oh, I think it was Wednesday, and it tested 26 or 28. And this was testing, I believe, under 20. Everything he's hauled so far, I believe, has been in the 18 or 19 range. I think the first loads he took was like 18.3, which I guess the reason being is it was planted like May 12th, the first. Everything across the road there, and this strip, and half of the next strip was all planted on like the 12th of May, and it's 101-day corn. So, and with the hot, dry summer we had, it really dried quick. Normally, you know, I plant 104-day, and I haven't pulled any samples on any of mine yet, but normally I'm looking at November, late October if you got a super dry year or something where, you know, things aren't normal, low on moisture and hot, where you kind of have drought conditions. Your corn will usually dry out quicker, or mine will, but normally I'm looking at November before I even consider shelling any corn. But I'm gonna have to pull some in the first field I planted, because it's the 5-acre piece I planted there's no green in it, I don't think, and the 1-acre piece beside it has very little green. So, but now these fields, as you go up the hill, the next strip would be all right, but the next strip after that is a 3-corner piece that was sod last year, I believe. Yeah, that got plowed up this spring, the sod, and it tested like 20 point something. He took a test of that, I forget when, yesterday or the day before, or maybe this morning, I don't know. He just took it recently, and it was just a hair over 20. So what we're probably going to do is knock these. I got 2.5 acres here I'm finishing up. The next strip is 2.5 acres, and then the next piece we'll get in and shell 2 loads out of, and then run a test and see what the mill says. And if it's 20 or below, we're going to keep going. If it's 21 or over, we'll probably sit for a few days or something. We're talking pretty nice weather here. Today's Friday. It's kind of crappy, gloomy today, but tomorrow's supposed to be 82, I think, and Sunday's supposed to be in the 80s, and next week is going to be, shit, pardon my French, wasn't paying attention there, too much talking and not enough watching. Next week is low 80s up until like Wednesday or Thursday, and then it must be a cold front coming through. It drops into the 70s. And I didn't see much in the way of rain next week. It did rain here Tuesday. It didn't start raining until like, it was probably 6 o'clock. I was across the road in an 8-acre field just finishing up when it started sprinkling. And by the time I got done, it was raining, not pouring. It's kind of a steady rain. And my buddy was at the mill, took 2 loads down, and I put in a couple loads I had loaded, and I just let the combine sit out. I didn't figure a little rain was gonna hurt it. It's pretty filthy anyhow. So I left it sit out. Like I say, it just kind of a light drizzle. It wasn't too bad. This is pretty crappy here because back in the spring we had some pretty hellacious rains, and this was all planted, and the rains came and it washed it. Or actually, how was that? It rained and washed the field, I believe, before it was planted. So he came up and moved dirt around with a skid loader because it washed so bad. Got it shaped back up, and I believe we got it planted. And then it rained again and it did the same thing. And he fixed it again and was going to plant beans in here in this strip just to put something in it. And then it rained again before that happened. Or maybe he did, and then it rained again. And he said to heck with it. It was just too much screwing around for no more than it was. It did it in like 3 strips. But so far things are going decent. I did have issues the first day. The first day issues. My alternator or something wasn't charging. My amp meter was reading down around 10. And it wasn't a big deal until I got to nighttime. Well, it was 4:30 when I started. Well, it started getting dark, you know, around 7 or a little before, and I turned the lights on and they came on, but as I kept running they get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and finally by the time I got done I think a candle would have been brighter than what they were. So I called my fix-it guy and he sent his boy over, and I haven't called to find out. Apparently they fixed it because it's been working ever since. I don't know if it was a loose wire or what. I keep forgetting to give him a call and see what was going on, find out what he's going to charge me so I can go get him paid. But it must not have been too serious because I don't think he was there that long. I don't know if he was there a couple hours or what, but that was on Tuesday. What the crap? Keep missing a road here. Must not have been any corn up over there. Oh, these are where I overlapped, I think. I think I must have started on the other side of the field and finished over here. Or I thought I hit the overlap on the last swipe. Anyhow. So it's kind of early. I don't know if it's even 2 o'clock yet here. I got done early today. 10 till 2. Jesus. Yeah, it must have been where I overlapped. A little bit of these, like a point row, a couple point rows here. Things go well, we can keep running depending on moisture. We could probably have this farm done by tomorrow, I'm guessing. I'm going to try and get some stuff loaded this afternoon so he can unload. We've got 10 wagons between us, so you know, we can run a couple thousand bushel. Jeez, that's tough. I just have to catch that a little bit. I'm tired of backing up. And of course, soybeans are ready. This field beside me would be ready to go if the weather was fit. My beans are real close. Probably one field's 90% ready or 95% ready, other than drying out. The beans themselves, the field conditions are decent. I got 1 or 2 spots I'm going to have to watch when I go through it I don't screw up too bad or dig too big of tracks, because I'd like to no-till that field to corn next year, so I don't really want to mark it up horrible. So yeah, we're kind of waiting on some sunshine and a little bit of wind to dry these beans out. Not all the beans on this farm are ready, but probably a couple strips. I don't know what's going on up the hill till I start taking some corn off. I don't know if all of these are real close on this side or not. Try and get a little bit of this without messing anything up. Now, just this little bit.